Next up, we have Chris Griffing, and he's going to tell us about Texh Twitch and You. Follow him on Twitter at CMGriffing, and go ahead. You're up.
All right, there we go. So yeah, like you mentioned, this is just going to be a quick lightning talk. Just going to be talking about Texh Twitch and You. So if you guys didn't know, there is a huge science and technology community on Twitch, and it's a lot of fun. And you can find all sorts of stuff. So you might ask, why would you watch science and tech on Twitch? Some people might think it's boring. Really, it's good background noise while you're working. It's also, there's just so much different content. You can find people teaching, you can find people just making open source software. And sometimes you might just be reading stuff online and you have some questions. There's good people to chat with and have good conversations with. This talk right here is going to be focused on some of the JS streamers that you might want to check out. It's also focusing on some of the English streamers. So if you speak French or some other languages as well, there's just people from all over the world presenting about just all sorts of stuff online here. So it's really great. And I'm going to mention some of the other non-JS stuff later, because there's some really cool stuff besides just JavaScript. I do also want to point out there's too many streams. I couldn't mention all of them. I just wouldn't have enough time. And yeah, I think you guys should really just go check out Twitch and find some for yourselves. I think you're going to enjoy it. So first off, I do want to showcase some of the streams that get over 100 people on average watching them, just seeing them implement things. And it's really fun. So the first is Coding Garden. He's a big personality on Twitch on YouTube as well. But on Twitch, he moved over maybe early last year. And it's just such a fun stream. He's very focused on being involved, chatting with his viewers, and making things and showing you like how to start from scratch and build, nice focused little tools. And it's just such a good time. Very, very fun. After that, there's Jason Langsdorf, and he does a lot of like meetup, or not meetup. He does a lot of like interviews and things where he'll focus on a specific topic with whoever his guest is that week. He also does his own content, and he's a dev advocate for Netlify. Used to do some stuff for Gatsby, I think also for IBM, and he tends to do a lot of like Jamstack focused stuff. So if that's something you're interested in, definitely check it out. Up next, this is one I haven't had enough experience lurking or hanging out in myself, but he is very focused on teaching, on getting people from no knowledge to being like productive as a developer. He's faculty at General Assembly, so some of you guys who may have gone to General Assembly might recognize Leon. But yeah, I really do recommend. He does a free web dev bootcamp to where, yeah, just awesome technology, awesome just instruction and helping you understand stuff. Now this one is such a fun stream. He has more energy than the sun, so it's hard to keep up. When I said background noise, you're not going to be able to put him on in the background because you're going to be just focused to what he's saying, because he's just bam, 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 grabbing your attention. He's an engineer at Netflix, and he's been recently building an HTTP2 TypeScript library, which is just fun seeing some of this like core internal stuff get built. He tends to focus on backend and internals type technology. And his use of a green screen is amazing. Just awesome. I can't even describe some of the scenes. They're just that good. Next up is Vape Juice Jordan. He also works at Netflix, but he's more front-end focused. Very, very knowledgeable when it comes to the browser and how it does stuff, such as like fetch and all that stuff. And just, yeah, if you're looking for more of a front-end focus, but also very high energy and very, approachable, definitely check out Vape Juice Jordan. And then there's just so many other streams that I'll hang out in just all the time. I recommend all of them. And there's even more that I'm probably missing. But Bald Bearded Builder, he helps organize the Vonage Devs Twitch stream as well. Clarkio, he's at Microsoft doing some stuff there. Dev Wars is fun, where they'll have groups actually compete to build a thing in X amount of time over the weekend or whatever. And yeah, even then, we're going even further to just more streams that I really think you're going to enjoy. White Panther is recently on the Contentful team, so you can watch a lot of like Contentful, headless CMS type focused content. KidQueb, very knowledgeable in Tailwind. Yeah, just too many streams to focus on. Really check them all out. And I'll be providing the link to these slides so you guys can actually click instead of having to search for these. Now, when it comes to non-JS focused, there's C# Fritz, who obviously does C#. BeginBot does a bunch of Python or Go. George Hotz or GeoHot. He's been doing a lot of machine learning, but if you don't know that name, he cracked the PS3 years ago. He streams on Twitch. Mastermind, similar to Learning with Leon, does a boot camp style curriculum, and it's completely free, just awesome content. Stragger is very good for like, reaching out and asking questions and getting answers to like a problem you're having while he's just, quietly working on his own thing in the background. And Soding does so much different content. During the advent of code during December, his thing was he did a different language each day. And I can't even name 20 plus languages. So that's pretty awesome. Even further, some more non-JS stuff. Encelotosaurus does some really good machine learning. Last Miles even hacks on stuff for, like Linux, like trying to find holes in grep and things like that. RWX Rob is also very focused on that kind of thing. And TeachDev is working on NeoVim most of the time, which is just a more modern version of Vim. So you can see core dev happening to NeoVim live. And it's really fun. He explains it and talks about it, and it's really cool. When we get into like Python focused streams, Al Swigert wrote Automate the Boring Stuff. I think that's the name of the book, but he's famous book author. It's pretty much required reading for anyone trying to get into Python. Dow Wright's building a firewall. Anthony Wright's Code does a lot of open source work, such as like precommit.ci. You can even find people doing hardware stuff. And I don't lurk these nearly enough, but it would be really fun. Some of them focused on getting started with hardware. Some of them focus on, like really intense hardware stuff that, might be a little tricky to understand at first, but the more you hang out, the more you just listen to them talk, the more familiar it becomes. So yeah, awesome stuff there too. If you're interested in Rust, the language, not the game, of course the game's big, but the language itself, you can see people trying to make games or do some other stuff. Mr. Halsey, I think Gamozo also does some games, and Togglebit does just varied Rust content. And then last but not least, I think there's some more after this actually, but game dev, Lana Lux makes a lot of really good indie games just from start to finish on stream. And it's a really laid back, awesome stream. She'll even do some sponsored stuff for Azure, just showing how to use various things in Azure. Jonathan Blow is a very famous indie game dev. He was in the documentary about indie game dev years ago. And some of these other streams are also great stuff. Tim Bodette built his own framework, basically, to use C++ to build his games. And then last but not least, here we go. I think there's even one after this. There's Cassidoo, which I just found today, Chloe Condon and Metzen Around, and they focus more on like a podcast style or a Q&A style. So you can see podcasts being made right there live, and they'll even respond to your questions in the middle of it. And here we go. Last but not least, on just the indie dev kind of focus things, are startup focus streams. So Jamie Pine wasn't even a developer when he first started building his thing on Twitch, and he has gotten a seed of funding. And yeah, you got to see his entire process from learning dev to launching a product and getting seeded. Lightship Capital has a really cool thing where they are showcasing some of the various proposals they have, and it's a competition where people can vote and help them pick the next thing they're going to invest in. Rockstar really wants to focus on just being the startup guy on Twitch, which is pretty cool. You get to see him really like building up one of his things right now, and he's really in the marketing phase, which not as many startups kind of show, but that's almost half of a startup, right? The code is a very small part of what it takes to make a startup work. And Levels.io, he's done a whole bunch of stuff like Remote OK and other stuff there. He hasn't been as active on Twitch, but I think he's probably going to be starting up again soon. And just awesome streams. But really, it's not just indie devs. There's official sponsored streams from the likes of Apollo, like the GraphQL engine, AWS. Code It Live is the Telerik stream. Contentful devs like the CMS. Hasura, which I'm not even sure what they do. I think it's more of like a data kind of processing tool. IBM developers, GitHub has started doing it. And Manning Publications, where you can even see them do like conferences, and it's really fun. And then going even further, we've got Mongo. NASA has done some stuff. New Relic, Stephen Wolfram, as in like Wolfram Alpha, Twilio, Twitch even shows some of their dev stuff, and Vonage. And Microsoft is actually huge on the Twitch scene. They have 4 different channels that they're focusing on promoting content, various things. You could see when they do a new release for Visual Studio Code, you might find that, I think, on the Microsoft Developer channel, maybe even on the Microsoft one, possibly Visual Studio, but I don't have enough time to lurk all these, so I don't know the content as specifically as I would like. But yeah, awesome content. And I'm really just stoked to see big companies like this investing into the Twitch community. So what about you? Are you thinking about starting a stream? It's really fun. You get to just hang out and work on side projects all day, or maybe your work if you're lucky. What does it take to do it? It takes a microphone at the bare minimum, and a camera is optional, but it really helps. It makes it more personal, allows people to relate to you better. And it's just, you know, it makes the streams more fun. So seriously, if you're thinking about streaming, give it a shot. Yeah, it's not hard, doesn't cost you a thing. If you're looking for some resources to find other streams, you can check out Social Blade, Sully Gnome, or Twitch Metrics. They're more focused on like, where do you find like the top streamers within a category, things like that. And it's not just Twitch or not just tech focused. So you could look for, you know, the top streamers in certain games too. But it's really nice for just finding new streams, seeing like, oh, did I miss this completely? What time of day do they stream? You can find things like that. But if you're looking for more focused, like, oh, how do I find a JavaScript stream or a Python stream? devstreams.io is a really cool search engine that's cataloging tech streamers daily. And you can just, yeah, fine tune what you're looking for. You can even focus on different languages, right? If you're looking for a Portuguese or a Spanish or a French stream, you can just change the language. And last but not least in this category, livecoders.dev. So this is, Twitch has the idea of teams, and the Live Coders team is really awesome. It was really fun meeting a bunch of them at TwitchCon a few years ago. And it was started by C# Fritz, and just really cool community to, like, you know, try and branch out and find new streamers from. So that really does sum it up. I just wanted to make sure I was showing you guys a cool way to get into the Twitch stream scene. And yeah, hope to see you there soon.
Just curious, doesn't Amazon own Twitch? They don't have more coding-based streams?
They do have an AWS stream, which we showed, but they don't have as much. And really, yeah, I think it'd be cool if they had more. But Twitch Devs is also one, so, awesome. You know, yeah.
Anybody else got any questions?
I'm going to post my links to the chat real quick if you want to grab the slides. So yeah, thank you.